Have you ever met someone who tells you one thing but does the complete opposite the moment their back is turned? Someone who lectures about honesty while quietly bending the rules themselves, or preaches kindness while showing none? We call these people hypocrites, and if you've dealt with them, you know how exhausting, frustrating, and confusing it can be. But here's the truth, it's not just about their behavior. It's about how their actions affect your mind, your energy, and your ability to stay grounded in your own values. Today, we're going to uncover exactly why hypocrites act the way they do, how to spot them early, and most importantly, how to protect yourself from their emotional games without letting anger or resentment control you. And before we dive deep, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for the human psychology. We share daily insights to help you understand yourself, others, and the subtle ways human behavior shapes your life. Hypocrisy is more common than most people realize. You see it in workplaces, friendships, families, even online. And here's something striking, many hypocrites don't even see themselves as fake. In their minds, their justifications are real. I had no choice, they tell themselves. It's different when I do it. Or, they deserved it. These narratives are a psychological shield, protecting their fragile self-image from the guilt and discomfort that comes with acting against their stated beliefs. And when you confront them, they don't hear the facts, they hear an attack on their identity. That's why arguing logic with a hypocrite rarely works. You're not just debating behavior, you're challenging a story they emotionally need to believe. Here's a scenario, imagine you're at work, and a colleague constantly criticizes others for being late, yet somehow, they always manage to stretch deadlines for themselves. You point it out politely once, maybe twice, and each time, they deflect. Suddenly, you feel frustrated, even angry, but that's the trap. The hypocrite doesn't feel the shame you expect them to feel. They've insulated themselves with a story that excuses their actions. Meanwhile, your energy is spent reacting, analyzing, and trying to correct them. That's the dynamic, their hypocrisy drains you, not them. The first step in dealing with a hypocrite is observation, not confrontation. Watch patterns, not single incidents. Anyone can have a slip-up. We all say one thing and do another at times, and that's human. But when these inconsistencies repeat, when someone's words consistently conflict with their actions, that's where red flags appear. The key is detachment. Mentally, separate the person's story from reality. Recognize that their behavior says more about them than it does about you. This mindset protects your emotional energy and allows you to respond from calmness rather than frustration. Next, boundaries become crucial. Hypocrites often exploit goodwill. They appeal to your sense of fairness, empathy, or responsibility, expecting you to overlook their contradictions. But here's a powerful truth. Setting boundaries isn't mean it's self-respect. Decide what you will tolerate and what you won't. If a friend consistently talks about honesty but betrays trust, you can limit how much personal information you share. If a colleague praises teamwork but constantly undermines others, protect your projects and your reputation. Boundaries are not punishment, they are armor. Now, let's talk about emotional intelligence, the skill that gives you an upper hand. Hypocrites thrive on emotional reactions. Anger, guilt, confusion, they feed on these because it validates their manipulations or shields. But when you respond with calm awareness instead of reactive emotion, you reclaim control. Practice mindfulness, pause before responding, and assess whether engagement is necessary. Sometimes the strongest response is silence, or a simple, matter-of-fact statement of your expectations. You see, hypocrisy loses its power when it no longer provokes you. It's also essential to recognize when to disengage completely. Not every hypocrite is worth your time or energy. This isn't avoidance, it's strategic self-preservation. Relationships with habitual hypocrites often bring stress, drama, and disappointment. In such cases, reduce exposure, focus on relationships that reinforce integrity, and surround yourself with people whose actions align with their words. Your environment shapes your mindset, and consistently being around integrity strengthens your own emotional resilience. But what about the rare cases where confrontation is unavoidable? Family, bosses, or team members you must interact with? Here, the approach changes, led with curiosity rather than judgment. Ask questions that encourage self-reflection. I noticed this situation happened differently than we discussed, can you help me understand? Often, hypocrites resist reflection, but framing it neutrally avoids escalating defensiveness. Keep interactions factual, concise, and emotionally neutral. Your goal isn't to fix them, it's to maintain your standards without absorbing their chaos. Here's an insight that's easy to miss: sometimes, the most effective way to deal with hypocrisy is through indirect influence. Demonstrate integrity in your actions consistently. Your authenticity can subtly challenge the hypocrite's behavior, exposing the contrast between words and actions without a direct confrontation. This isn't manipulation, it's leading by example. People are influenced far more by consistent, observable behavior than repeated advice or criticism. Now, let's reflect on why some people become hypocrites in the first place. Many struggle with insecurity, fear of judgment, or the need for social approval. They create narratives to protect their self-image, often unconsciously. Understanding this doesn't excuse their behavior, but it can reduce your emotional reactivity. When you recognize the underlying fear or insecurity driving their hypocrisy, you stop taking their contradictions personally. Their actions reflect their struggle, not your worth. Finally, let's talk about empowerment. Dealing with hypocrites effectively is not about changing them, it's about strengthening yourself. It's about cultivating awareness, emotional resilience, and decisive boundaries. When you master this, hypocrites lose influence over your energy and decisions. You maintain your integrity, your peace of mind, and your clarity. And here's the remarkable part: the skills you develop to handle hypocrites, emotional intelligence, self-control, and observation, improve all your relationships, even with people who aren't hypocrites. You become a magnet for honesty, respect, and authenticity. So, remember these key takeaways: observe patterns, not moments. Set clear boundaries. Respond with calm awareness instead of reactive emotion. Disengage when necessary, and lead by consistent example. Recognize that the hypocrite's actions reflect their insecurities, not your value. And above all, strengthen yourself so that hypocrisy no longer steals your energy or clouds your judgment. Dealing with hypocrites isn't about fighting them, it's about rising above them. It's about reclaiming your emotional space, protecting your peace, and letting your own integrity shine. And if you found value in this insight, make sure you subscribe to The Human Psychology and turn on notifications. We explore the hidden patterns of human behavior and give you practical tools to live smarter, calmer, and more intentionally every single day. Remember, understanding people is power, and your ability to navigate the complex psychology of others will shape every aspect of your life, relationships, career, and even your personal growth. Hypocrisy will always exist, but your reaction is your choice. Choose awareness. Choose boundaries. Choose calm. And most importantly, choose to keep your life guided by clarity and integrity, no matter how many hypocrites cross your path.